Anubis. We're pristine, so back mindset. Like a machine. In the game, we're clean, we're so keen. Hours in the sky, chasing that dream. That dream, obelisk tide, we rock the scene. Capturing rhymes while taking what's unseen. On the ark, we're kings, we're supreme. Never seen the limits in we evergreen. Time grows, very interesting. We will go claim the crown. We'll tear it down. There's nothing they can never do to take down our crown. And we will pop them down and make the drum sound. There's something inside more blessings sneaking around. Now watch the ice still. We're fighting it down. Running, charging, calculate. The power we bring, gunning like a panther. Hear the battle sing. We're blazing through the ranks on the move and swing. With might in our hearts to take everything. Everything pillars rise as we claim our throne. For victory, we've already grown. On the field we fight, we overthrow the norm. Nothing stop us, ain't no way we stand alone. Time grows very interesting. We will go claim the crown. We'll tear it down. There's nothing they can never do to take down our crown. And we will pop them down and make the drum sound. There's something inside more blessings sneaking around. Now watch the ice still. We're fighting death. From the desert outside to the desert outpost, we crave more. With every swing stride, we will the right. We're opening the door. So here's to the grind. We'll tear it down. There's nothing they can never do to take down our crown. And we will pop them down and make the drum sound. There's something inside more blessings sneaking around. Now watch the ice still. We're fighting death. Yeah, we're fighting death. We're fighting death. We're fighting death.
Hello, 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 governors. Welcome to the 2025 Grand Prix lower brackets round 4. I'm your host, Plata Gaming caster and content creator for Rise of Kingdoms. And today, casting alongside me, we have two fellow casters and content creators. We have my boys, Dirty Dan and Redline. How are you guys doing?
What's going on, Plata? How you doing? Red, how's it going?
I'm doing good, gentlemen. Plata, how are you doing?
Yeah, man, it's been a pretty crazy weekend. 2 days of casting, and we are on our second day in this lower brackets, where the Grand Prix is a yearly event that combines the best Osiris League teams from both the international server and the Chinese server, pitting them against each other to fight for the crown of Grand Prix champion. The game that we are casting today is yet another clash between the two servers, finding themselves in a win or go home scenario. Today we are casting Beer representing the international server versus GY16 representing the Chinese server. Beer this Grand Prix has been one of the standout teams, winning their first games against NP39 and 748W. They're performing really well until their game against 45Q. In that game, they lost their obelisks early, sending them here to the lower brackets. With a lot left in the tank, they are looking to redeem themselves against the Chinese server as they will go against one of their best Osiris League teams and reigning Grand Prix champions, GY16. GY16 were dominant in last year's Grand Prix. They made it to this year's Grand Prix by winning their Osiris League realm in the Chinese server. With a close loss to 60 GT, they have found themselves in the Grand Prix lower bracket for the first time in their team's history, but were able to take revenge against the international server, knocking out some of the best and most decorated teams, 489 and 93T. 2 teams face off, but only one will be able to make it to the next round. Will Beer be able to push themselves and take revenge for the international server against GY16? Or will GY16, the reigning Grand Prix champions, continue their lower bracket run to defend their Grand Prix championship, knocking out yet another international server? I'm just going to start off with you guys. Redline, what do you think of this matchup?
Dude, it's going to be an intense matchup. I mean, Beer has performed very well in every single year. And, GY16 are the current champions. But, dude, I'm going for the international. I mean, I'm going with the team. I'm a little biased here, but I'm hoping that the Beer team pulls through. How about you, Dan?
Yeah, I have to say, especially after my home kingdom taking that L yesterday against GY16, definitely going to be rooting for the international servers a little bit harder now today. But yeah, it's going to be a very interesting matchup to see if Beer, I mean, getting sent to the lower bracket on an Obelisk play, GY16 obviously doing the slick Obelisk play yesterday to 93 team, kind of like that being their bread and butter of sorts. With Beer being sent down to lower bracket from that play, you have to think that they're not going to let that happen to them twice in a row. So it's going to be very interesting to see if GY16 is going to go in for an attempt on that play, if they're going to try something a little bit different or just a little bit more of a straight up match.
Yeah, we're gonna have to be seeing these obelisks because it's not only against 93T, it was also against 489 where they did a similar obelisk play, just sacking middle, going straight to these obelisks. It was Master Strategies, it was Sun Sailor, all using all these teleport skills to just move and fly around the map here. And we'll have to see. GY16, I feel like every single game they've been getting more and more crisp against 60 GT. They just fully sent middle. I felt like they were really rigid with their strategy where they just sent everybody middle. There was no plan B. 60 GT able to pop that no mark, be able to win off occupation and win off the points. Now you saw especially against 93T, they were a lot more fluid. It looked like they had control of the whole game. And I think that's the most important thing in this Grand Prix. When you're fighting against the best of the best teams, there's only 6 teams left in this Grand Prix right now. So these are the top 6 teams in the game in Osiris League, and we'll have to see how they perform. It's going to be really interesting. That opening play, as you're referring to, I'm going to be really, really curious to see if they decide to do something there. Dirty Dan, if you were to predict if there would be an obelisk play, do you think there's going to be an obelisk play this opening?
I want to say no. Only if it wasn't Beer that GY16 was playing, and say this was like 60 GT again, or this was 748W, like a team that hadn't had the play used against them, I would say that it would definitely be more likely for GY16 to pull that off. But let's not forget how much these teams practice. And I know it's only been about a day or so, but I'm telling you right now, ever since Beer getting sent down to lower bracket, has definitely been practicing a lot to prevent any mishaps if a play were to happen like that to them again.
All right, as we get into the game here, we have Beer in this top left corner, starting to teleport in. I mean, Redline, I'm sure you would know that about obelisk plays being in, us being in 60 GT and 960.
Yeah, man, it's pretty brutal. I mean, I just want to piggyback up what Dan said, right? So I agree. I don't think GY16 will make that same attempt, especially with a team like Beard, because again, they have all the VOD now, right? All these matches are streamed now, and there's a lot of visibility to this. So I think they're gonna be a little bit more careful. I'm hoping for some new type of strategy to kind of take the advantage happens here, but I don't think we'll see a similar obelisk play happening in this specific match, especially against Beer.
Yeah, we'll have to see. But the thing is, if you prepare for the obelisk play, then you might be, giving up some pressure on taking the initial structures. For example, the desert altar or the sky altar. If you hold some marches around your obelisks, perhaps, there's going to be a pressure disadvantage elsewhere on the map. So it's going to be that really dangerous seesaw tightrope, that balance that Beer will need to find against GY16. And what if Beer decide, hey, we lost an obelisk play. We've seen GY16 do these obelisk plays. What if we just reverse it onto them? So we'll have to see what happens in these opening matches here. Again, we are playing in Grand Prix, so everyone has max amount of troops, same amount of troops, all max commanders, same gear, same armaments. So it will come down to the strategy. It'll come down to, all of those things.
I'd say even on that too, Plot, if I could just jump in real quick too, like we have a couple seconds before the match starts, like the microing is so important. Like one thing that I learned in playing with the 93X Grand Prix team, and kind of one of the reasons I think we got knocked out is our microing just wasn't as good. This is like the best of the best, like open fielders, in my opinion. Like if you go out and look, like these are probably going to be the best open fielders because your micros have to be really good in these Grand Prix because everything is the same playing field.
Yeah, these open fielders are going to be crazy. Redline, what do you think of open fielding in Grand Prix especially, right? You just have to be super skilled at this.
You have to be. I completely agree with Dan. Like the microwing is very, very important because that's the only gap that you can have. How you manage your troops. I mean, there is a little bit of strategy in terms of how you set up your talents and, you know, depending on what kind of marches, because everybody has everything, but the microwing is the most important piece of this tournament, in my opinion.
Gates have dropped. Sentries now being placed. The initial sentries, wow, one sentry right outside of the outpost of GY16. And then there's a sentry for GY16 outside of the obelisk area here, in between the obelisk and these ruins over here. The rallies coming in, it is 3 rallies for Beer, 4 rallies for GY16 on the obelisks here. So everything looking pretty standard, although this is a pretty interesting sentry place. I don't think I've seen it literally right outside of the outpost. We saw last game, we did cast GY16 versus 93T last game. And both teams had their sentry placements so refined that they could kind of predict where the opponent's sentries are. So perhaps they're trying to put sentries in peculiar spots to avoid being seen. But yeah, we could see the marches starting to stream out here. Has there been any difference between the marches in Beer versus the marches in GY16, or has it been pretty standard throughout all of the Grand Prix? I guess we could start with the red line here.
Yeah. I think it's pretty standard. I think not much has changed. It's all about speed, right? Speed is the biggest factor in this match. So I don't really think that there'll be a huge difference. If there is, then another team is going for something else, then I think that's a big disadvantage. But I don't think there should be a huge difference between the two teams, especially at this part of the tournament.
Yeah, there's been some pretty interesting lineups, but it was only for swarming. We saw that the GY16 members that teleported over to 93T's obelisk were just running the perma swarming marches. We'll have to see if something like that will happen this time around. Looks like pretty standard so far. What do you think of the opening so far, Dirty Dan?
I think like so far we're seeing pretty standard. Again, I think calling out the sentries and the fact that I think each team has only used 1 sentry is kind of peculiar to me as well, unless I'm missing it. But yeah, usually, I mean, we see like one getting popped up onto the gates, and then we'll see them kind of being put into these middle sections between your inner and outer lanes to kind of get a feel of, you know, where are they going to overload to the outside lane? Are they going to overload to the inside lane? So yeah, it's pretty standard for now, although GY16 was kind of doing this little bit of a kind of like going up the middle and then deviating now up to the top side by that Shrine of War. So maybe a play coming on the top side for GY16. I'm not quite sure though.
Yeah, you could see
the
sentries have been kind of like this game. They're kind of going blind. Like they have some sentries, but not as much vision as you'd usually see. Usually people like putting those 2 sentries in the beginning, but I don't know, man. We'll have to see if there's going to be a play here. They do have a garrison. They did rally a garrison into this desert altar here, so that's going to be pretty standard going into the murder ball. They do have vision. They have a sentry outside their desert altar, so they see exactly where the GY16 marches are. And there's also a GY16 murder ball on this top side. Honestly, the bottom side looking pretty standard. The top side looking pretty standard. The bottom side of the map here looking up pretty standard as well. Although it does look like Beer in this bottom side of the map are taking a bit more of a defensive approach compared to GY16, who's all up on this desert altar. What's your favorite strategy to do in the beginning here? Like what do you tend to focus here if you're these teams, Redline?
Man, I don't know. I'm like so anticipating the build up right now, but I think the aggressor approach to me has always been the most, I guess, fun. Like again, if there was an obelisk play, that would have been amazing to see. But the aggression is always the best part for me playing in these type of matches, because again, having the momentum and dictating what happens in the match is the most fun part of it.
Yeah, we've seen matches literally get, I feel like, decided in these first couple of murder ball fights. If your opponents threaten a first capture of your altar, and then you're just consistently sending to that altar for the first like 6-7 minutes of the game, it does, really play on your tempo and your pressure for the rest of the match. So we'll have to see how and which team decides to take the reins here. Last game, it was GY16 with that obelisk play. Beer, it was also, they had an obelisk play against them, which they were down in tempo in that game as well because they couldn't teleport onto their obelisks. Right now, it looks like GY16, they were able to get into the Desert Altar first here. Dirty Dan, what do you think of the opening so far?
Yeah, I think a nice opening and kind of to Redline's point, and we saw GY16 kind of push up and engage a little bit more heavily onto this Desert Altar, which kind of makes sense on why they ended up taking it. But yeah, I mean, you always want to be the one kind of putting the tempo on, and we talk about yesterday and all the questions that they're posing to 93T, and I think they're kind of getting right back to action today. And I think that's going to be an interesting thing to think about today with GY16 and with 748W on the other side where Chiz and Brian are casting. These teams are should be in rhythm, right? They're getting back-to-back matches, whereas Beer and 60GT kind of, even though they have the benefits of waiting and watching, they might not be as kind of in rhythm as GY16 and 748W on the other side. That
is true. Playing back-to-back matches sounds pretty tedious, but might actually pay off. We've seen in, perhaps that extra practice against your opponents, even though it's a do-or-die scenario, might actually push you over the edge. Beer able to take the Desert Altar of GY16, so it does look like Beer right now actually having control of 3 of the altars, kind of flipping the script where GY16 kind of had 4 altars there for a little bit. So first occupation on all these altars are still up for grabs. GY16 though look like they're honing in on this Desert Altar, trying to make sure that they at least capture that and take away those points from Beer. We've been seeing this Heraclius, I believe it's Heraclius Charles, right? Is this the new anti-swarm garrison? What do you think, Brian? I mean, what do you think, Dirty Dan?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely helps against the swarm a little bit more. I don't know if we saw that. I mean, it was kind of hard to see GY16 defending too much yesterday. There was so much going on that they just looked. I don't remember seeing this combo too much for them yesterday, and we usually see the traditional Eleanor Heraclius. So there has to be something to this where there's just a little bit more anti-swarm. I don't know, Red, if you have any more insights on that particular garrison pairing.
No, that specifically, I think it's just all for the anti-swarm. And obviously I have the most, I think that these teams at this stage now are testing everything, and during their practice, this had to be some type of, advantage versus what we're normally seeing. So, I think that's what it really is. But that's the first time I've seen it in this type of matchup.
We've seen it in Supreme Strife quite a bit. 60GT used that garrison for, in particular, the Supreme Spire in the middle. So there is something to it. We've been seeing it in these game modes, these high pressure, really optimized game modes here. But the garrison of choice, the rally of choice rather, has been that Attila with Subutai. Every single rally outside of perhaps an archer damage rally has been Attila Subutai. For the march speed, because a lot of the marches out in the open field are also cavalry. So trying to make sure that the marches around can fill with the right troop type, as well as, being a fast rally itself. And we are, 3 minutes 40 seconds until Ark spawns, and none of the Desert Altars still have first occupation yet. So this has been a flipping back and forth game. Nothing has first, Desert Altar here, no first occupation. Sky Altar, no first occupation. Bottom side Desert Altar was just recaptured. This Sky Altar might be the first one to finally get some first occupation going. We could see that there is the archer damage rally. It is QSH with Shapur.
Interesting. And
that is going to be the first altar. That is going to be the first altar that gets first occupation here. And you can see that Beer is ahead in terms of points right now. But GY16 using no mark. Interesting. Okay. GY16 using no mark this early means that they will not be fighting for this first Ark fight. They will not be fighting for this first mid fight. I'm curious as to why they used it now, because now Beer will have full knowledge of their play. They'll have full knowledge that GY16 will go towards their building. And now you could see the murder ball that was in the middle here kind of playing this flex role of either going middle or going back to the structures is now starting to head towards the desert altar, because this is kind of a telegraphed play from GY16. I'm really curious about that early no mark usage. Dirty Dan, do you have any insights?
Yeah, I kind of like used to question the early no marks too, but I think again it kind of puts another question on the board, especially with what GY16 is kind of known for. Obviously, it won't be able to match the strategist, but you do have to kind of be a little bit wary of your obelisk now, because a no mark is going to reduce the amount of time that it's going to take to occupy a building. And even if they were simply able to snipe an obelisk for the teleports, like we saw yesterday, just how effective getting those 8 extra teleports were for GY16. So I think that has to be a question that's in the back of the mind for Beer.
Yeah, I mean, those extra teleports really played a difference for GY16 against 93T. And I will also say, there has been no energetic used from GY16, so we can assume that they have stocking up on the bar. Stocking up versus energetic has been this debate so far. These two different strategies, people relate stocking up to more of a mid focus, because you could use extra points by giving provisioners or submitting provisioners to get those extra energy points, so that you could pop not even 10 points, maybe 11 points, maybe 12 points worth of skills for a mid fight. Looks like right now though, they're really content with just going the building game, going the occupation game, and trying to get their advantage there. Redline, what do you think of the state of the match so far?
Oh my god. At first I thought, GY16 was kind of like having the advantage of the aggression that they were having, but right now it's pretty stable. I think Beer is doing a really good job kind of adapting to what what GY16 is doing, and I think right now I'm calling it 50-50, man, because right now these teams are adapting very well. Not giving an inch to anything.
Yeah, both these teams just continuously threatening each other. We'll have to see what happens in this mid fight here, because there is a couple marches from GY16. We could see that Beer did use Dust Up, so they used 2 points worth of skills. I'm going to be really curious to see what their plan is going to be. They have 4 points extra worth of skills right now. If we, with no mark costing those 6 points, will they decide to use those points, or will they decide to save it for another mid fight and perhaps capture this first Ark early? The mid fight has started. Ark is going to be spawning in 3 seconds here. Ark has now spawned. Who will get first tap? Oh my goodness, this is such a close mid fight. You saw Nevsky.
I wonder what that play was for. There has to be some type of play for that.
All right, there you go. There is the pull from Beer. And as expected, it looks like they will be able to get this first Ark. Pretty clean mid fight, by the way. They did have 2 points worth of skills, and it looked like they also had the numbers advantage. But crucially, Beer only used 2 points, so they are still up in terms of skill points. They could kind of, press the issue here with these mid fights, capture this Ark really fast, and kind of force another mid fight with GY16 in a points disadvantage. GY16, what did they get? They got the Desert Altar. They're now getting points from the Desert Altar. But crucially, they did not get the Sky Altar. So it's not a 4 altar swing. And this is what Beer's going to do. They respond with a no mark themselves. So saying, okay, we're just going to hold on to this Ark for as long as possible and try to stabilize the points with using a no mark ourselves, and perhaps also aggressing on GY16 structures. I mean, Redline, what do you think of Beer's strategy right now of just capturing that Ark, using 2 points, and now responding in kind with a no mark themselves?
Dude, I think it's from that no mark that happened from GY16 earlier. I was like, okay, they're heavily focused on buildings, and Beer needs to adapt to make sure that even if because I knew that Beer was going to focus on the Ark, but I was wondering if that 4 altar swing was going to happen, and there was only 1, right? So I think that Beer has actually gotten kind of has the advantage right now, because GY16 strategy didn't really work. And now I think Beer's going to put pedal to the metal with their own, based on the momentum that they're having currently.
Yeah, this is looking really, really beer favorite right now. They are only down by 1.3k with no mark being used by GY16. The no mark of GY16 will expire faster than beer, so there's going to be a point where beer will have no mark, GY16 will have no mark, and those points should be able to stabilize quite a bit, especially if these structures are going to continue to be even. You can see beer
Really
also
good.
attacking the desert altar. Dan, what do you think?
Really good. Yeah, really good. I just wanted to call that out. There was a really good attack there forming up for beer, and kind of to Red's point where, you know, they kind of mitigated the amount of value that GY16 was able to get out of that no mark, and then in response, while taking the arc, popping their own no mark, and now getting a 3 altar swing. And of course, as I say that, a little bit of a caster curse is going to come in soon, but doing a good job nonetheless.
We see that the GY16 no mark has already expired. You can see because it's taking 2 minutes to capture the sky altar. Meanwhile, the desert altar was captured at the exact same time. Beer only having 30 seconds left. So this is looking like a beer favored right now. They have control of this game, which is super, super interesting because we've seen GY16 have the reins yesterday. Now beer saying, we're not rusty. We know exactly what we need to do. We knew as soon as you pop that early no mark that we would be able to get that arc, and we would be able to only commit those 2 skills. I think the skill usage of beer was so crucial for that first mid fight because they only committed 2 points and then used no mark themselves, allowing them to kind of have the best of both worlds, get that arc, and also stabilize their structures. We'll have to see what happens in the rest of this game. How long will they hold this arc? They have about 11 minutes until it despawns. And we will have to see like what Beer decide to do and what GY16 decide to do to respond to this. Because the true score right now, the arc is worth 3k, and right now GY16 is up by 1.1. So we could say that confidently their Beer is up 1.9 in terms of true score. If you're Beer, what do you think they should do? Dirty Dan, like, do you think they should try to capture this arc or just hold it for as long as possible?
I think now at this point they will have to hold because they will be at a little bit of a point deficit. Although maybe not, because they are technically losing, and the losing team is going to generate those skill points a little bit faster. So it has to depend and come down to that. I think it's definitely going to be on the skill usage. Their skill usage, as you kind of stated, has been really good thus far, and I think kind of what has them in this kind of position, which is kind of dictating a little bit to GY16. So I think the safe play is to hold on to that. But Red, what do you think? You have the more actual practical experience over me.
I don't know, guys. I don't know about that, guys. I agree with you right now. With Beer with holding right now, I think they're holding because right now a lot of their ultras are flipping back and forth. Right now, Beer does have the 3 ultra swing versus now it's 2, so it's a lot of back and forth right now in terms of the occupation. So they really need to find and balance it out, and then find because it's all about that right timing, about that microing that we're talking about of where are all our marches at one time. If we turn in now, what happens in the next 5 minutes? So right now, I think Beer's trying to figure out that stability before turning it in, because I would think that Beer wants to have more arcs here against GY16.
Beer wanting more arcs against GY16. I will say, this is very different from the game that we casted yesterday. GY16, it felt like their structures were indestructible. Now their structures are starting to flip left and right. You can see the Sky Altar is not generating points. The Desert Altar is not generating points. Meanwhile, the Desert Altar and Sky Altar of Beer are generating points. And perhaps that's what we were talking about yesterday. That Obelisk play with the extra teleports really played a difference in terms of the tempo, in terms of the marches able to be there as soon as possible. Now the fact that they don't have an Obelisk play, the same play that won them the last 2 games against 489 as well as 93T, GY16 in this straight up game have been losing in terms of pressure to Beer. You can see that, like, the arc hasn't even been scored and the games are pretty much even. That is really, really impressive for Beer. They should be really comfortable with where they're at. If you're GY16 though, what is the path to come back into this game? What do you think they should do, Dirty Dan?
I think they just keep playing their game here. I think at some point They're gonna make a move. They definitely have some plays up their sleeves. I mean, this is one of the, this is the leading team. This in the Chinese server. This is the, they gave us so much perspective, or the Chinese server in general, in terms of like meta adaptations last season with occupation focus going in, and I don't think we've ever seen anyone provision upwards of like 8,000 to 9,000 points, yet these guys were able to do it. So I am actually, speaking of provisions, I am kind of scanning the map a little bit now. They do have provisions starting to go out now. They have about 6 to 8 provisioners going, while beer only has about 3. So I think provisions, they know, is going to be one of their strong suits, and kind of a way that they can mitigate at least one of those arcs. And I think that's kind of their bread and butter. That's how they won last season. And I think that's gonna look how they repeat here today.
I mean, even the game against 93T, the difference was provisioning. They got what, 6.5, 6 point. It was a lot of points from provisioning. We'll have to see if Beer could respond with their own provisioners themselves. It looks like they're not provisioning as much as GY16. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They pretty much have 2 people dedicating all their marches to provisioning. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 beer. One thing I will say though is GY16 this time, they have the stocking up. So the fact that they have stocking up means that they probably won't be holding back in terms of getting that point explosion at the end of the game. They'll probably be sending in their provisioners periodically here and there to make sure that they could get that bar exactly where they need it to be. They could get the energy points that they need for this upcoming mid-fight and for whatever comes afterwards. So we'll have to see if Beer could respond to that pressure, because right now it is looking like an even game, less than 100 points away from one another. We have Huakibing in the garrison here, not the ideal garrison, still getting filled by GY16. My question is, what do you think of the play so far from both these teams, Redline?
Dude, honestly, like, it's so close. I know that Beer has the arc, but if you're looking at the map, looking at the points per minute, and then the occupation score, and even the difference in kills, they're so close, man. And it just speaks to like the elite play level of both teams, because like the map, it's crazy. Like it's like you have one, I have one, they have one, but now Beer is actually doing well, but like a minute ago was the opposite way around. So honestly, man, it's so hard to call it now, and to say, hey, what's working for the other team, because they're just adapting so well to each other and what they're doing.
I will say that Beer has been able to flip the GY16 structures a bit more than GY16 has been able to flip Beer. And it's so interesting because from game to game, like there's going to be one game where it feels like the structures are impossible to flip. And then there's games like this where the structures are flipping left and right, and they keep repainting the structure every single 2 minutes here. The duality of Grand Prix and Osiris League has been really interesting to see, because it's been either these games that's super stable or these games that kind of devolve into a bit of chaos where all these buildings just continue to flip back and forth. The garrison coming in here.
Different bit of chaos than from yesterday. Yesterday was like its own like set of chaos, and today is like a little bit different. Things are kind of flipping back and forth, but yeah, you gotta love as chaotic as it is, this is the best of the best. And I think like the last 2 days have been some of the best arc that arguably I've watched in a very long time, and it's a testament to these teams practicing so much.
Best arc indeed. I mean, these are the top 6 teams. If they win this game, they will make it to the top 4 and verse the winner of 60GT and 748W. It is really interesting because there's only one team in the lower bracket, and that is GY16. So we'll have to see if GY16 will continue their international server run and knock out all of the international server teams. They have the potential to do so if they win this game. They beat 489, they beat 93T. If they beat Beer and then also beat 60GT or 748W, that's it for the international server. They're done. They're finished. So this is going to be a really, really big game to see if there's actually going to be an international server team in the lower bracket finals. You see the arc has been captured, and now there's the timer. There's the timer for the next arc. the second crucial arc, as Beer is now up by 2.2k. The Sky Altar, man, is getting super, super low. We've been talking about these structures flipping back and forth.
My gosh.
Redline, why do you think the structures have been so volatile this game compared to perhaps another game that we might have casted in previous times?
I mean, the map is like checkers, bro. It's like literally, they're like it's like Christmas lights, like you know, like and right now it's like they're going back and forth, and it's I'm just so impressed by the level of like defense that each team has, and their ability to kind of flip these things back and forth. Because like I feel like half these altars have not been generating points at all through the entire match. Doesn't matter who has them. So honestly, they're very important because I think it's gonna come down to like this match should be like less than 1,000 points. I really think so. I think it's gonna get that close, and I think that how many times they flip it back and forth, whoever does it, each point is gonna matter here, and that's gonna be the focus. Outside of these two arcs that are coming up,
100%. It's gonna be. It has been a close game. Less than 1,000 points. That'd be an insane way to go. But yeah, the thing that's super interesting, we're halfway through the game. There's 3 skills missing in Beer that are question mark. But in GY16's case, there's literally their whole bar is pretty much just unknown. They only use no mark as well as stocking up. There's nothing else on GY16's bar that Beer knows of. So we don't even know if they have a master strategy. We don't know if they have a Sun Sailor. It's too late to do those strategies to take the obelisk, because most of the cities have now been teleported to each other's obelisk already. But look at this, by the way. There are 4 altars to Beer's side, and this has been the name of the game for Beer. They've been able to flip these structures. Meanwhile, the only obelisk generating points right now is the desert altar. I mean, the only altar generating points is the desert altar. The rest of the altars here, even the desert altar of GY16, is now generating points for Beer compared to GY16. It has been altar dominant so far for Beer, even though it has been a back and forth affair. Sky Altar now taken back from GY16. Why do you think Beer has been so successful in these Desert Altar, Sky Altar attacks, Dirty Dan, against GY16?
I've watched a couple of them. I've been focusing a little bit on this Desert Altar with the I think 2 flips that they've had now, and it just looks like they're accompanying their rallies a little bit better. And for the timings for GY16 might just be slightly off when it comes to that. And I think part of it too is what I've noticed in this match is that the shrines have started to flip a little bit more. And that's like, I feel like a little uncommon. I feel like because we put so much emphasis on the altars, but like at the same time we do that because like the shrines just don't really get flipped all that much. So I think maybe there's been a little bit more pressure from Beer on some of these shrines. Like I remember seeing Shrine of Life and Shrine of War were taken at one point. The Shrine of War is for GY16 is now kind of coming back up into occupation for them, which tells us that was taken from them. So I think that has something to do a little bit with how Beer has been able to have some success on these altars, is by applying a little bit more pressure onto the shrines, which is drawing some attention off for GY16.
Yeah, I mean, it's been dominant so far. We could check the occupation scores right now. It's actually not been that bad. It's only been 1k, but it's also been the arcs, and you have to keep in mind they did give away some of their structures for that first arc. And I feel like this is the first time where each side has had their home structures this whole game. It's finally blue on the top, red on the bottom. But we have 4 minutes left to go in this arc. What do you think the plan is for GY16, Redline? Do you think they're going to go all in for this arc, or do you think they're going to try to go for this building game?
I think they have to, man. I think they've been doing a really good job, because if you look at, I think we saw the occupation score right now. Right now, Beer is in the lead about 2k, so they kind of have to adjust and shift and need to go for this second arc, because, like you mentioned earlier, right? GY16 is known for their provisions, right? They're known for, they already have things out. They have stocking up sent out. So I'm thinking, dude, they're gonna go for this arc and then cancel the other arc with those provisions, and then it'll be the final third arc who's gonna determine the winner, and it'll be less than 1,000 points at the end, boys. I'm calling it right now.
He is
right now.
He has seen the future. He has seen that it's gonna be less than 1,000 points. Who would you predict to win though? Is it GY16 or is it Beer? Who ends up with that 1,000 plus up? Redline, what do you think?
If I had to call it, okay, like I said earlier, I want Beer to take it because they're international, But I want Beer to win it. There we go. Let's keep it clean there. But I don't know, man. I like what I just said earlier about the provisioning and then the second arc. If the GY16 gets a second arc, dude, the prophecy is gonna happen. I'm calling right now. If GY16 gets this, the prophecy is happening.
I think you're onto something too, because they used stocking up not too long ago, so they're gonna have the advantage in this mid fight. They're gonna have over 10 points to use here, so we're gonna see them kind of unload the skill bar here. So yeah, Fred, I think you're onto something here, which is unfortunate because I'm as Plato mentioned too, like Beer is one of the last hopes for the international servers, and then we have our 2 other international server teams battling it out on the other stream. So GY16 is really poised to just put the dagger in it for the international servers here. So let's go Beer.
All right, we'll have to see what happens here. We have a minute left until this arc spawns, but you can see that Beer kind of have this 2-pronged assault right now, just murder balling up. They're trying to make sure that GY16, I think, aren't going towards the Sky Altar and the Desert Altar. Just trying to keep the marches as close as possible to middle as well as their structures. But now that they see that there's not too much activity going on, except there is some marches going towards the Sky Altar. But they're just trying to make sure that they don't go for this full no-mark building game. But look at this. There is also a lot of marches, and they see exactly what's going on. Beer see exactly what's going on here.
This is so cool, dude. This is like all these sneaky conspiracy moves. Like it's like it's like all sneaky. Like it's pretty crazy, man.
Yeah,
I look how
the
Beer's
evolution.
adapting too.
Beer is adapting exactly. This has been this skill level of Ark of Osiris has been so good to see. You can see now they're also adapting to the marches that are going towards the Sky Altar. This has just been a game of responding and making sure your marches, the macro of the game, is so important to make sure you have enough marches to defend your altars, to make sure you have enough marches to contest for mid. You can see now Desert Storm was used by Beer, as well as Dust Up. It is sneaky tactics for GY16 in response. In this top side of the map, I'm curious as to why they use sneaky tactics here. They're fully invisible. Beer cannot attack these marches right now. What is going to be the play for GY16? Are they going to go for the obelisks here? It looks like they are beelining towards it. Wow.
What is happening?
The Ark has spawned in the middle. Dirty Dan, I'm going to rely on you to tell me what's going on that top side of the map as I cast the middle here.
Yeah, they're kind of splitting up here. They're doing a fake out actually. They I don't know what they're doing. I honestly have no. They're coming back to the altar now. They're coming back to the altar now. They have the rally on the altar. Oh my gosh! Like what?
What is going on?
Everyone's angled here. With some people now going for mid too. Like what the heck did we just witness?
Look at the map too.
It is a red Sky Altar. The Desert Altar is now getting swarmed down. Beer have control of the Ark. This is going to be worth 3.5k. So GY16 are banking that this play, the 6-point play of Time Warp into No Mark, as well as Sneaky Tactics, is going to be able to take this Desert Altar. They pretty much invested 3 points to take this Desert Altar, but Beer are holding on strong here. Will they be able to hold it? It's getting so low. There's 1 HP, 1 sliver of health. The marches are pouring in, though, from Beer. The clutch reinforcements, the double C, the logo of the game, ends up saving this Desert Altar for Beer. Wow, what a hold from Beer. They still have a lot of open field marches around this as well, so they could march swap in and out. And that is going to be a failed Desert Altar take from GY16 at the cost of 6 of their precious points. They are now only down by 2.8k rather. But there is an Ark in Beer's control that will give them an extra 3.5. Beer heavily in control of this game, and a masterful response to GY16's structure attack here. Oh, wait.
No way.
They got the flip.
Way.
They were able to
No
just tap the
way.
structure. No one was in there and able to deny first occupation for or occupation points for another 2 minutes here. We'll have to see if those 300 points will end up being the difference at the end of this game. But instead of that one blunder, it has been a clean play from Beer.
That was like the Hercules' like MVP shining moment there, taking that altar with the one tap.
Oh my god.
That was pretty funny. It was probably only like 10 seconds, 20 seconds I was able to deny it from because there was already a 2-minute timer. So perhaps only 150 points maximum taken away from that play, but still, it's pretty interesting to see that Heracles just walk in there after we've seen, and perhaps that's going to be the story of the game. There's just these structures have been flipping back and forth. Even with just a Heracles garrison walking in, they're able to take one of the structures down. I will say, though, the rest of the map has been pretty successful for GY16. The Sky Altar has been able to be captured by GY16 and held. And then the Desert Altar is pretty much the only structure. The Desert Altar and the Shrine of War are the two structures right now in Beer's control. You can see the points per minute right now. 1k points per minute compared to 190 points per minute. GY16 doing exactly what they need to do, and you can see that Beer have captured the Ark early, so they're going to go for an early third Ark and potentially threaten the fourth.
I'm on to something, boys. I'm telling you, I'm on to something.
Here's the response that GY16 can do now, and I think this is one of those benefits of not carrying energetic, is they have stocking up. So even if they're down on the points, and here it comes, if they're down on the points, they can kind of just use that stocking up to say like, okay, well, let's run it back. Like, you think you have the skill point advantage on us, but we're just gonna use stocking up, dump some provisions, and then we'll be right back up to where we need to be.
I will say as well, the last stocking up they used, they didn't use up the whole bar. They didn't bring up back all their provisioners. They only have 1.1k in terms of provision points. Right now, you'd expect if you bring everything back in, it'd be around 3k, 3.5k, with 20 minutes left to go in the game. So they do have a lot of stocking up points. They still have a lot of provisioners out there to fill that stocking up bar. And they still also have 2 skills on the bar. What skills do you think GY16 has brought in here, Dirty Dan?
I'm gonna go to the cheat sheets here provided to us. So they do carry dust up from time to time. Last match yesterday, they actually had energetic, sneaky tactics, master strategy, time warp, no mark, and dust up. I don't think we'll see master strategy make an appearance, although who knows with GY16. They've also carried Heaven's Grace, and Sunsailor. Obviously Sunsailor probably won't make an appearance, so probably I would say To the Death might be on there, or the master strategy.
I agree
Something
for both.
tricky.
I agree on that.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see the 2 last skills of Beer as well as GY16. What will be the usage here? This third Arc can be a decisive one for Beer. If Beer get this third Arc, it's going to be hard for GY16 as much as provisioners give. I don't know if they could come back from a 7k deficit with just provisions. But, I mean, we'll have to see what happens, man. We'll have to see what happens. If they get this third Arc, if GY16 get this third Arc, the game is pretty much stable right now, as that third Arc would give 4k points, so then GY16 would be up by about 1k. We've seen GY16. They can win these mid-fights when they need to. But sometimes they cook a little bit too much. Sometimes, you know, they try to play this fake out game of going the structures, but as the game gets deeper and deeper, closer and closer to its end, these arcs matter so much more. We could see Beer trying to attack this GY16 Sky Altar. They've had a lot of success. GY16, will they go full mid this time? What do you think? What do you think, Redline? Do you think GY16 is going to just send everybody middle, or do you think they're going to cook a little bit, send some of the marches towards the Desert Altar and Sky Altar of Beer that we've been seeing throughout this match?
So this next arc is what, 4,000 points? Like they have to, man. I mean, unless I'm missing something, but they have to. Like they minimized the amount of damage from that second arc because I think at one point it was 1k points per minute versus like 100. So I think they kind of minimized that damage there. But this next one is a do or die in my opinion. You gotta have to have this to make it close that gap. Because right now it's about what, little less than 3k. So this is gonna dictate the rest of the last 15 minutes or 10 minutes left in the match. So they have to.
What do you think, Dirty Dan?
Yeah, I'm with Red on this one. They have to, especially, I mean, considering if Beer gets it, like they're just gonna hold the arc and they'll just bleed it out. They're not gonna give the opportunity for another arc to spawn, and then, you know, from there it's you know, all out provisions and trying to do a little bit of occupation as kind of like your Hail Mary. And I don't think those are the kind of Hail Marys that you want. You definitely want to have a little bit more control with capturing an arc. So I'm definitely with Redline here. They have to go all in for this and definitely go and take that.
I will say that the shift in Ark of Osiris has been really interesting. Where I remember back in the day, it would be like 5 minutes until the arc spawns, everyone drop everything, go middle. We are now 3.5 and everyone's now starting to walk. So it's pretty interesting, the fact that you're not late. Like how late you are depends on how early your opponents are. Pretty much. If your opponents go middle first and you're able to take some structures and then go middle at the same time, then you're going to have the advantage. So both sides just trying to make sure that, hey, are you going to be there? Are you going to be there? We're trying to make sure that they don't get ghosted middle and their opponents just take the rest of the map. But we can see GY16 able to hold their Desert Altar. All of the structures right now looking rather even. And this is going to be the first time that we see a full commit. Look at the marches now swarming through. Let's see the vision from both the teams. Oh my goodness, Redline. Are you excited for this mid-fight, sir?
Dude, this is it. This could be less than 1k. I think I'm going to call it that. I think GY is going to take it here in the mid and then going to score it. And then it's going to be less than 1,000 points. And that's going to be up in the air who's going to take it. I don't know.
Less than 1,000 points. This is going to be a close one. Now, my question to you guys, if GY16 take this arc, do you think they capture it right away, or do you think they hold it to make sure it's the last arc?
Oof, that's tough.
That's so risky.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the safe play is you know, hold on to it. But again, I don't know. GY16 is so unpredictable. I mean, they're so creative in the things that they do. I mean, even yesterday they went for, when they didn't really even need to, they went for the master strategist to try and steal one of the last arcs from 93T. So I'm just, yeah, I would rather play it safe than sorry. 100%.
I think one of the most craziest plays I've seen from in Osiris League history, perhaps, was when GY16 last year in the Grand Prix, they had the arc, but didn't capture it. Had marches middle, because if you don't know, if you don't capture the arc spawns in middle in 1 minute. So they literally didn't capture arc. They had people middle. They were able to take the arc again and reset the timer.
Oh, yeah.
So they made it into like a 1 arc game, which... or like a 2 arc game, which was absolutely insane. So they cook up some things, but right now they got to play bog standard. They just got to win this murder ball fight to get back into this game. Do you think GY16 have it in the tank, Redline?
I do think they have it, you know, and we're gonna see it here. And I'm still rooting for Beer, but I think the execution from GY16 I've been seeing the last like 15 minutes has been impeccable. So I think they both have it, but I'm really interested to see how GY16 is going to come out from this deficit to make it a closer game.
You could see that it is a crazy mid-fight because for the first time in this game, Rise of Kingdom suggested I go to light mode. So there are a lot of marches in this middle right now. Both teams using Desert Storm. The arc is going to be spawning in 20 seconds here. With how close these teams are to this middle and the mid-fight not starting, it's going to come down to who taps first. Who has the positioning here? Who has this mid-fight? Who will have the game? It's to the death from both teams. It is to the death from both teams. 9 points worth of skills used each. And the arc has now spawned. Who gets that first tap is going to be crucial. the hero Ark carriers. Who will it be? Will it be Beer or will it be GY16? The time is going down. It's Beer. It's Cactus Beer. But it is on GY16's side. Who is winning this murder ball fight? GY16 with a late sneaky tactics in the middle here to try to give them a little bit of the edge. But I don't know. I think this is looking pretty blue. This is looking pretty blue. Oh my gosh. The sad face train right now for GY16 is crazy. And look at what we have here. We have Beer taking full control of middle, taking full control of Ark, and taking full control of this game. What do you guys think of that mid fight, starting off with Dirty Dan?
That was huge. That's exactly what they needed to do. And you can even see, like, what a valiant attempt. And I was thinking about it too. I'm like, they're going to have one more skill here. But the only other skill that they're going to be able to use is a sneaky tactics. A Hail Mary sneaky tactics at the end of the murder ball. Man, I know they wish that they had that in the beginning, but great job from Beer. And that's some of those microing here. That's and something that Redline is very familiar with playing on many Osiris League teams is those micros in the middle. Those are the moments right there. Those are the moments that really matter.
See, the moment you said that, I remembered me waking up at 4 a.m., 5 a.m., never again. But yes. And that was amazing from Beer to see. And I thought that sneaky tactics play, I'm like, it should have been done earlier, but I don't think they had it yet. But yeah, that was unfortunate. But again, guys, we still got 11 minutes left in the match. GY16 is going aggressive against this Ark, so I think their ultimate goal is just make sure that they don't score it. Now, can they make that happen? It's been done, but I don't know against a team like Beer they can do it. But the match is so close that they can prevent this and have those provisions we talked about. That could be a different story. That can be a different game, guys. I don't know what's going to happen here. I don't think it's done yet.
That would be crazy if they could stall an Ark for 11 minutes 30. But we'll have to see. Beer doing the really interesting play here, kind of trying to decide, do we go towards the outpost? Do we go towards our home obelisk? It looks like they are going towards the structures here. There is one GY16 double C just consistently attacking this Ark carrier, making sure that they don't get a free carry back home. But yeah, this is going to be really Beer favored. The marches, look at all the Cav marches just coming out from GY16. They know that this Ark is their do or die. And as good as GY16 has been in this Grand Prix, they have not been able to take these crucial Arks, have not been able to take control of the game with these Arks. It has been the building game for them, but right now they need to make sure that they get control of this Ark some way, somehow. Look at all of the marches coming through. You know that it is a maximum amount of cavalry marches when there's a Justinian open field just walking through. And I know you're a Cav main, but I bet you don't use Justinian in your 7-march lineup anymore.
Nope, absolutely not. No, but this is something that we did specifically, even on the 93X team, like on our yellow presets. Those were those were all Cavs. Those are like the emergency Cav presets for moments like this. Even an XY in the field right now. Like, oh my gosh,
it's all speed. I think some of them have what is that march speed? Armaments set. They have
triple line
formation. Triple line or line.
Triple line, I believe.
You just did it with triple line, just to get there.
Yeah, this is. I mean, hey, they got there. They were able to delay this Ark. Now they have to slowly but surely push it back to their side. They have to push this Ark continually. Bring it back to their side. You can see that the game is pretty close right now because of the provisions that GY16 were able to bring in due to stocking up. Okay, we'll have to see. Beer losing control of the Ark. The thing about Beer, though, it is on their side of the map. Look how close the refreshes are. Coming straight out of their city. It's literally just like a 30-second walk compared to GY16. It's like a 30-second sad face. So in a war of attrition here, it should go towards GY16's side, but GY16 currently we're able to pull it at least a little bit away from Beer here. They're just going to continue pouring in these marches, though. I'm going to be curious if they decide to pull some people from the bottom side of the map as well. We have 8 minutes, 40 seconds here, and Redline delaying this Ark might not be crazy right now with how much they've been able to just inch it back and forth.
The altar.
Yeah, they have 4 altar swings for GY16.
This is crazy.
And a great pull from them as well. Holy.
These pulls have been crucial. If Beer at any moment were able to get any of these pulls, it probably would have been game over already. But GY16, even if you instantly get sad face, that's going to deny 20 seconds because it takes 10 seconds to try to pick it up, and then you have to pick it up again. So it's going to deny 20 seconds every single time. Cactus from Beer, the player that got the initial pull in that first mid fight, now with full control of the Ark though. And this player has been the MVP in terms of Ark carrying for Beer. And it looks like finally they have full control of this Ark, full control of the game. But as you were talking, GY16 have been able to find some success on the altars in the meantime. Now, will that success be enough, though, to overcome the 4K points that will come from this Ark? Dirty Dan, what do you think will happen in the last couple of moments here in this game?
I mean, I liked what they did there for a second. Like, that was almost the ideal setup that you needed to do, is capturing the altars. Now, if they're able to hold on to the altars for Beer, I think that we would really be looking at this coming down to provisions now. But I mean, we're looking at 5K points. I don't know if GY16 is going to be able to do that. And you know that Beer's been provisioning a little bit here too. So I think that I think Beer has opened it up now, and I think it's not going to be the 1K red. Unfortunately, it was looking like it for like the 90% of the time. But I think now Beer has kind of opened it up a little bit too much now.
If GY was gonna take that Ark, I think it would be that close. But hey, you never know, because right now, yeah, you're right. They probably turned in some provisions right now. I mean, dude, oh my God, GY already has 3,000 provision scores. That's pretty quick.
Yeah, GY16 they had to bring back those provisioners for stocking up. I counted, I think it was 18 provisioners for GY16 out in the field right now. Even the field marches out here are just like, look, there's a provisioner literally in the murder ball just trying to get as many points as possible for GY16. I counted 18 for GY16, 13 for Beer. I will say Beer has had some provisioners just provisioning throughout the whole game. So as you were talking about, I feel like even though GY16 has been the master of provisions, I don't know if it'll be enough to overcome a 5K point differential, especially when Beer has been counter provisioning, and especially when they lose their desert altar. This has been a masterful display of just being able to take the structures when it matters most from Beer. Beer now just trying to hold the structures. Redline, do you think how do you think GY16 could come back into this game? What is the play for them to get back into this?
I mean, with 5 minutes left, Plot, I don't think there's not much you can do. Yeah, you can provision, but if, like you mentioned, Beer has a good amount of marches out there already provisioning, I think the gap is too far apart for GY to do anything, especially after losing the Desert Altar, and and not have anything on the opposite side of it. Like, you need those points, and I think with the amount of time at 5 minutes left, the difference, there's not enough time for GY16 to do anything, unfortunately.
I will definitely say it was that last Ark fight, but leading up to that, the reason why that last Ark fight was needed was because Beer has just had control of these structures when they needed to. In a straight up building versus building game, when both lanes are, going back and forth, Beer has had the advantage against GY16. And that's just something we haven't been able to say in the past 2 matches against 489, against 93T. And it's been really interesting to see because Beer, they have just been so clean, so crisp, and they have been just had the reins this game. What do you think, Dirty Dad?
Yeah, so I actually got the chance to practice against Beer, and they gave me a really big slice of that humble pie. They're a really good occupation team. Like, they're very consistent on the pressure, and I think the turning point in this match was when Beer was able to deny that time warp into no mark. I think it was on the second Ark. I think that denial there and really mitigating that value that GY16 was looking for on the points was the crucial moment for Beer, and it's a testament to their really good building game.
By the way, talk about building game. They just popped no mark for the last 3.5 minutes here. So even if the points are even, they pop time warp no mark. So they will have no mark available, just generating points for even having the structures available. It has been a masterclass from Beer. I've been super impressed by their play, and especially for a team that isn't even here for winning I believe they came here from the qualifier. The fact that they came here from the qualifier, I believe the only team left from the qualifier stage that is now in this top 6, they have been pulling off a masterclass in this game. GY16 trying to hold the Sky Altar here. We have 2 minutes 50 seconds. The provisioners from GY16, will they be able to provision back 7k? I think not. An international server, I feel like you could start to be happy, to start rejoicing, because this will mean that the next round will be international versus international server, meaning that there will for sure be an international server team in the lower bracket finals here. Now, keep in mind, next week and next week, we're not going to have Osiris League or Grand Prix gameplay, rather. The gameplay will continue. The tournament will continue on October 11th. And that will be where the winner of this game and the winner of 60GT and 748W will face off. As well as the upper bracket, which is 62M1 and 45Q. The Chinese server teams will face off in the upper winners bracket. So it'll be really interesting to see how those two teams, how those two matches decide, how this bracket will go. But look at the point differential right now. It's 9k. It is 9k point differential. Beer are now starting to bring back their provisioners, and this is done and dusted for them. What do you think, Dirty Dan?
Yeah, very, very similarly too. Just wanted to give a quick update. 9k point advantage on the other side of 60GT and 748W. 60GT up by 9k points as well in their match against 748W. Really interesting to see actually that both of our matches are pretty much right in line with the scoring here. Yeah, this is going to be a really great matchup going into the next rounds with Beer and 60GT, and then ultimately going to face off against one of the Chinese server teams that are eventually going to come down into the lower bracket. So this is getting really, really spicy here, and just really excited to see where the rest of this Grand Prix leads us.
This is absolutely a huge win from Beer. The fact that they were able to take down the reigning Grand Prix champions in GY16 in pretty much, it wasn't even close after that third Ark capture. It has been a super, super dominant showing from them. And this picture right here, Beer taking the Desert Altar, Beer taking the Sky Altar, really encapsulates what's happened this game. It's been Beer taking advantage, taking control, and taking the championship repeat away from GY16. GG's to both team. Beer has taken the victory against GY16. Oh my goodness. GG's. What a crazy game. You can see 42.9k for Beer, 34.7k for GY16. And you could see, even though the Ark game was definitely in Beer's favor, 10.5k, the Occupation game was so close, because even when they gave up like that pressure on their buildings to get those arcs, they were able to send some marches. They're able to send the right amount of marches to hold their structures, and that ended up being the difference. Do you two have any final notes on this match? I guess we could start off with the red line.
No, man. I mean, it was a really great match, and I thought that third arc was the make it or break it for GY16, because I felt like they did everything else great. Occupation, their aggression, their provisioning, like all that was great. But that third arc was the key difference here, and Beard took advantage of that and was able to kind of mitigate anything that GY16 did throughout the entire match. How about you, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually even surprised to see that GY16 is leading in the occupation points here, because it just felt like Beer was kind of taking over some of those altars a little bit more so. But yeah, amazing match, and the international server hopes are still alive with beer, and then 60GT going to face off in a few weeks, and yeah, just really really excited to keep this thing going.
All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the bracket here. We can see Beer and GY16, the match that we just watched. Beer able to take an 8K win against GY16, the reigning Grand Prix champions, now knocked out of the tournament. So Beer will be versing 60GT, who were able to win against 748W. It'll be 60GT versus Beer. That will be a crazy matchup. And as well as 45Q and 62M1 in this upper bracket round here. So be sure to subscribe to this channel, the official Rise of Kingdoms channel. If you guys enjoyed the Grand Prix Osiris League content, do you guys have any final notes? I guess we can start with Dirty Dan.
No, just a really good pleasure to cast alongside you, Plato, and for the first time getting to chill and hang out with Redline. So hoping that we can do it again.
How about you, Redline?
It was a pleasure as always, Plato. I think we've been doing this together for a long time now. And Dan, again, it's our first time together. So I'm glad that we're hand in hand, my friend, doing this together. So I'm looking forward to future collaborations and a great match to start off with.
All right. Be sure to subscribe to this channel, official Rise of Kingdoms channel, and our channels are also in the description if you guys enjoyed the casts. And we'll catch you guys next time. Peace.